everybody to the ribbon cutting ceremony to mark the start of the restoration of the Pioneer Monument at Donner Memorial State Park. I am Heidi Doyle, the Executive Director of the Sierra State Parks Foundation, and proud to have partnered with California State Parks, the Native Sons of the Golden West, and our many donors who have enabled us to be here today. It took great courage and foresight to raise funds and to construct one of the greatest achievements of the Native Sons of the Golden West here at Donner Memorial State Park. Monuments and statues are erected to remind the future of the past. The Pioneer Monument was constructed on the provision, quote, "It be known and designated as the Pioneer Monument and shall be a memorial to the California pioneers of the Overland Trail." But as time has gone on, it is much more. The Pioneer Monument sits at the gateway to California and is a testament to the pioneer spirit. Pioneers are individuals who are dissatisfied with the status quo and have a vision for something better beyond their immediate world and ways. The statue with the Pioneer family unit, the father and mother stride purposely forward, the man gazes intently to the horizon, and the woman clasps a baby to her breast. Behind the father sits a backpack crouched with a young child. A flint musket is nestled vertically between the father and the girl. The family is depending on their own resources to come up with new ideas, inventions, innovations, and enterprises, which suggest ideals not different than our own today, or of the Washoe, who lived in the range of light for generations before. Today marks 22 years of work by the Sierra State Parks Foundation and California State Parks to restore the 102-year-old monument, visited by over 500,000 visitors annually. These visitors gaze at a deteriorating landmark that has been identified for major restoration since 1998. It has been a team effort to get to this point, an example of the modern pioneer spirit of tenacity. Today we celebrate the finalized contract for the restoration of the 20-foot 6-inch pedestal and the 16-foot bronze statue. Work will begin this coming spring, and it is our desire to have a community gathering right here to celebrate the completion of this phase of the Donner Project. The Donner Project includes the landscaping of the area surrounding the monument with interpretive panels and benches, and will construct an outdoor amphitheater to host school group programs and other educational events. I would now like to introduce Mr. Greg Palmer, who will give us a short history of the Donner Project.
The idea was originally floated to build either a statue or a monument as early as 1880. And it was suggested then by Charles Flashen, one of the pioneers of the town of Truckee, who had published and written the history of the Donner Party 1 year earlier in 1879. It was a struggle for the first several years to get some enthusiasm behind the idea. And in 1893, Charles McClashen and several other pioneers from the town of Truckee came to the location here and went to the Murphy cabin site, which is several hundred yards down the trail from us now. And at that time, they took up the last remaining log that happened to be the threshold for the doorway to the Murphy cabin site. They took it back to McClashen's home in Truckee, and over the next several months, he, with many volunteers in the town of Truckee, took splinters from that last remaining log and put them into 2-inch long glass vials with tags certifying that they came from one of the cabins at the Donner winter encampment. And the idea then was to sell them for $1 a piece. They had a total of 5,000 of those glass vials. Unfortunately, they did not sell all 5,000, and it was shortly thereafter that McClashen collaborated with the Native Sons of the Golden West, and basically the project was passed to them. In 1909, the cornerstone, which is no longer there, was placed, and the first shovelful of soil was excavated by Charles McClashen in regards to his having come up with the idea. 1 year later, in 1910, they had the official Native Sons of the Golden West dedication of the foundation, the cement foundation, and the cornerstone. And at that dedication in 1910, there were 3 survivors from the Donner Party, and they had brought personal family relics and also a hardbound copy of the history of the Donner Party written by McClashen, and they were buried underneath the keystone. And then fast forward from 1910 until the official dedication that took place right where we're standing now on June 6, 1918, which pretty much brings us to where we are today, 102 years after that dedication.
Thank you, Greg. As you can see, it took a huge partnership to make this happen, and it's gone over generations of park employees throughout the years. I would now like to introduce the Chief Ranger of the Sierra District, Mr. Matt Green.
Hello everyone, I'm Matthew Green. I'm the Chief Ranger of the Sierra District. I want to welcome you all to your California State Park. I want to thank you all for your participation. I want to thank the Washoe people, our original occupants of Donner Memorial State Park. Like we've discussed today, the topic is it took a team from the early 1900s until today to keep this monument standing. This is what we're all about. It's not a single land steward or a single park manager that's able to save a monument like the Donner Monument. It takes partners like the Sierra State Parks Foundation, the Native Sons, and everybody in between. And here we stand today, approximately 3 years ago, we had an opportunity to get some deferred maintenance money, and those are monies for projects that have been set out on this staggering list, which is part of our project infrastructure database. And there's thousands of projects on this, and like everything, this project advanced to the top. But the reality is, sometimes in a state agency or a federal agency, it takes a while. But going along year after year, we finally found out that we received money for the project, and lo and behold, we started having conversations with contractors, and now here we are today having this conversation about restoring one of California's greatest monuments. So again, I'd like to just conclude to thank everybody before me, from the Washoe to Native Sons to the former park rangers and interpreters, to Don Schmitz and the Bill Lindermans, and all these folks that actually advance this cause along the way, because it's that legacy that's put together through our partners and ourselves that can make a project like this happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. And now I'd like to introduce Mr. Dave Allen of the Native Sons of the Golden West.
Thank you, Heidi. The Native Sons of the Golden West first involvement with the Pioneer Monument was in 1898. I want to thank Greg for providing some more background information I wasn't completely aware of. When the Grand President of the Native Sons, Mr. Frank Rutherford, who was the principal of the Truckee Public School District, was able to present to the governing body of the Native Sons at their state convention the opportunity to study this project. In 1901, Dr. C.W. Chapman, a dentist from Nevada City, was chosen as the chairman of the Donner Monument Committee. From that point on, for the next 17 years, through many twists and turns, Dr. Chapman pursued the ultimate goal, recognizing the fortitude of the pioneers on this arduous journey to California. At that time, the Native Sons were experiencing monuments and restorations due to their work with Sutter's Fort the Bear Flag Monument in Sonoma, and the Marshall Monument in Coloma. On June 6, 1918, this monument was unveiled in front of a crowd of 3,000 to 5,000 people, which included descendants of the Donner Party and the governors of California and Nevada. The native sons and the native daughters of the Golden West formally dedicated this monument. It had taken 20 years and, believe it or not, $35,000 to get this project done. Do not look at what it costs today to do the work on it. Around 2000, the Native Sons, through its Historical Preservation Foundation, started to get more involved in California state parks, and more specifically, the Pioneer Monument. There had been some changes from the original scope, but the fundamental mission of restoring the monument remained the same. The Native Sons continue to support this project in California state parks. This is consistent with the original mission of the Native Sons back to 1875 and going forward. Thank you.
And now I'll be calling up some people up here for the official ribbon cutting. It's been a long time coming, and we're grateful. And this is really a momentous occasion for the people of California. So I'd like to invite Chief Ranger Matt Green, representing California State Parks, Mr. Dave Allen, representing the Native Sons of Golden West, myself representing the Sierra State Parks Foundation, collectively all as partners, ribbon cutting, and I invite everybody to come next summer, watch the scaffolding come up and the restoration process, and we'll see you next year when we celebrate the grand opening, ribbon cutting for the completion.
Don't forget that mask, Dave.
David, your man.
Mask, Dave. You don't want that official photo to.
Oh my goodness.
There you go. Let the games begin.
Do it again? Yeah.
All right, folks, that concludes our ribbon cutting. Thank you so much for joining us. To learn more about the Donner Project and similar projects, please visit the Foundation's website at www.sierrastateparks.org. Thanks. Bye.
Next up is our honoring in a few minutes of Dave Allen with the Honorary California State Park Ranger Award.